Good morning, everyone. I'm so happy to be here today. My name is Elizabeth Brennan, E-L-I-Z-A-B-E-T-H. Brennan, B-R-E-N-N-A-N. I am a civil trial attorney, and I practice law all over the United States, primarily in Florida and Nevada. And I have had the privilege, along with Terry Linneman, to represent the Ortiz family and trying to get justice for their beautiful son, Alex Bello Ortiz. He was 22 at the time that he was shot and killed in his home in Daytona Beach, Florida. And at the time of the shooting, there were only two people in the house, Alex Bello Ortiz and John Berline, but there was only one shot. So the question was, who was the shooter? And, you know, I love the police. I have a great respect for the police. They do a hard job, and most of the time they do a thorough investigation and they get it right. Unfortunately, that is not this case. And in great part, I believe personally, due to the fact that John Berline told the police when they arrived on the scene that it was a suicide. And unfortunately, the police went with that, and the medical examiner followed suit, despite clear evidence that this was not a self-inflicted gunshot wound. And there was no indication in this beautiful young boy's life that he was suicidal. Never depressed, never used drugs, did not have issues. And on that very day that he was shot and killed and deprived of his beautiful long life, he was his normal self. So I am pleased to stand here today and say, after 4 long years of a struggle for this family to try to get somebody in the legal system to look at their case and evaluate all the facts and the evidence, which is overwhelming in my view, we presented our case in civil court today, this past week, because the law enforcement authorities never pursued this killing from a homicide perspective, despite the clear evidence. And my clients have spent substantial money and time and effort and energy for all these years, and they've had the support of all these beautiful people that have come from long distance to support this cause. And I want to thank all of you for coming and supporting this family. So we had a jury trial, and this was a civil case, not a criminal case, a civil case. And when you kill somebody in the civil context, it's called battery. And we had a wonderful jury of 8 citizens that committed that they would look at all of the evidence. And that's what happened here. It's the first time that all of the evidence was viewed, including the multiple videos where you could hear him say that you could see a struggle, and you could hear Alex scream out his last words, "Whoa!" And you could hear the shooter say, "Take it," and then boom, the shot. And despite that overwhelming evidence, we couldn't get anybody to look at the case. But this civil jury looked at all the evidence, and there was a mountain of evidence. And I'm pleased to report that we got a unanimous jury verdict in this civil case. 8 jurors concluded overwhelmingly that this was John Berline was the shooter. He killed Alex Bello Ortiz, and it was not a suicide. And because they were so outraged, they awarded this beautiful family $4 million in their verdict, over $4 million. And, you know, that's substantial because this case isn't really about the money for them, and we made that clear to the jury. Because unfortunately, no one can take back Alex's life, and no amount of money can give his mom her only son back, her only child back. And unfortunately, her life expectancy is another 30 plus years that she'll have to live on this earth without her only son. And there is some sense of some satisfaction today that we have a jury verdict that is the correct conclusion. 2 people in a house alone, one ends up dead. There's only one shot, and there's only one shooter. And the evidence showed it was physically impossible for Alex to have killed himself. The evidence is overwhelming, and I really hope that as a result of this verdict, that the Daytona Police Department relook at this case, and for the first time ever, despite 2 quote investigations by the Daytona Police Department, which unfortunately were not investigations. They never put out the yellow tape. Not once did they ever in 4 years formally interview John Berline, who was the only other person in the house at the time. And so we're pleased today that you all could be here to help celebrate this victory. Every human life has value, and everybody deserves their day in court, and today was that day. Yes, late last day, yesterday we got that verdict. So thank you all for being here, and thank you for supporting this cause. I want everybody to understand this is just the first step in the process of justice here for Alex, because the family, I do believe, has intentions to pursue the case with the Daytona Police Department and perhaps the Department of Justice, because some other things don't quite shake out here. So thank you for the jury. They were amazing, and we can believe in our jury system in the United States and the time they served, and they were wonderful.
Hi, first of all, thank you so much for being here and taking the time of your time to be able to cover this. I am extremely happy because after 4 years of pain, suffering, and struggle to have somebody heard us and knocking on the Daytona Police Department, we have a small step in the justice toward Alex. The fact that they were able to validate all the evidence that were overwhelming, that was ignored by the police department, that is one step toward what we're going to be looking for is more justice for Alex, because I am grounded in his spirits that I'm not going to stop until I have all the justice I need for him, because he was my only son. His life was valuable, and even thought, I know the police department is supposed to do their job, they did not do justice for my son, and that's what I'm going to be looking for. And this, thank God for the justice in the civil court for Elizabeth Brennan and Terry Lenneman and the supporters and the jurors. They saw through what the police department didn't want to see, and this is just a small step toward we coming forward to be able to see all the justice, because not just with one voice. Now we are 1,000 voices that we're asking for justice, because we don't know how many people have gone through this. And Alex have a lot of people behind them. And now I am thankful. I am extremely thankful to all of you, but especially to God, because he allowed us to have this day in court. And that is only one more step, because from here, we will go to DOJ. We will go find the criminal justice, and we will have those people responsible that today, because this week, because of Ms. Brennan, because of Mr. Terry, and because of the beautiful juror, were held accountable, but we will be looking for accountability in the criminal systems. And I thank you to each one of you. Okay. Claro, gracias por su tiempo y por estar aquí. Esta semana, estos son 4 años de lucha, de dolor, de lágrimas y de lucha interminable a que alguien nos escuche, porque no había quien nos escuche, porque nadie quería mirar las evidencias. Ahora, en esta semana, con mi abogada Elizabeth Brennan, con mi abogado Terry Lenamon, con este apoyo que tengo acá y con todas las oraciones que todo el mundo nos ha dado, hemos podido por fin alcanzar victoria en uno de los pasos que es en el juicio civil, donde se demuestra que Alex no se suicidó, que a Alex le dispararon en la cabeza y que hay suficiente evidencia que fue ignorada por la policía de Daytona. La policía de Daytona, todas las policías hacen su trabajo, pero en este caso no lo hicieron. En este caso lo ignoraron, no una, no 2 veces, 3 veces, y a pesar que abrieron investigaciones, no hicieron nada. Y estando la policía, el detective de Narde, en el juicio, se negaba a reconocer. Y gracias a Dios tenemos un sistema en el Estado civil de que funciona. Todo el jurado unánimemente vio todas las evidencias y pudieron ver de que a Alex le habían disparado en la cabeza. Y eso es solamente el pequeño paso que ahorita hemos dado. Es un solo paso, porque yo estoy en el espíritu de mi hijo, de que yo voy a seguir buscando justicia hasta que yo pueda tener, no solamente tener los responsables como lo tuvimos esta semana, pero tener los responsables criminalmente, porque toda la vida de nosotros vale y la de mi hijo valía mucho. Entonces, por eso les doy muchas gracias por estar con nosotros. Vamos a ir al Departamento de Justicia, vamos a ir a hablar con la policía de Daytona, porque este error no se puede quedar así, porque este error que está claramente, que usted puede ver las evidencias, y que si no hubiéramos estado persiguiendo y si mi marido no hubiera estado conmigo, mi hijo hubiera quedado sin justicia, y por eso vamos a seguir. Pero le doy gracias, porque gracias a Dios esta victoria, porque es una gran victoria, es un solo paso de lo que tenemos que hacer para la justicia final.
Bravo, bravo, bravo.
Definitely want to thank everybody for being here. This has been a long, long road, and the justice system, we really expect them to do their job. We expect them to do the right thing at the right time, and a lot of things weren't followed. It became a system of systemic misfeasance has turned into comfortable malfeasance, and there needs to be accountability. Accountability. So this is what we are going to continue to pursue, accountability. Our family is just probably, and I'm pretty sure, is one of many, many others. The fact that we were able to have the time, energy, and means to push forward, we are now becoming the voice of those who could not. And we are going to continue with this until justice is served. Thank you very, very much.
Questions? Lourdes, you can step up. Any questions?
What are you looking to see come out of the Department of Justice investigation?
In the investigation of the lack of negligence of the police department, or the obstruction of justice that we have seen, because I want to give you an example. They send the recording to ROCIC, that is a department of a criminal analysis, that they work with them. When they received those ones, they did not bother even to listen to them, and the evidence was there. When I went myself to present the transcripts, they ignored them. So that's not negligence. That's obstruction of justice, borderline corruption. Because if you have the evidence, do the right thing if you have done something wrong. Amend what you have done right. Because that's what the shield says. So that's what I'm going to be pursuing in the DOJ.
Are you hoping that this leads to a third investigation into the case?
I'm going to look for a third investigation, but let's have this clear. Not third investigation. A first through investigation of the case, because the other two were just opening the case and shutting it down with no investigation. Sí, lo que espero del Departamento de Justicia es que revisen lo que ha pasado en este caso. Revisen por qué. Porque tienen las evidencias, el departamento de policía de Daytona tenían las evidencias en sus manos, tenían las evidencias, ellos habían hecho clarificar los audios donde está claramente el disparo y la persona que le disparó a mi hijo, y no quisieron revisarlo. Tenían las escrituras donde muestra que había otra persona que estaba disparando contra mi hijo e ignoraron. Y eso es más que negligencia, esto es obstrucción de justicia, y por eso estoy yendo al Departamento de Justicia para mostrar y ver qué es lo que pasó en este caso y cuántos más habrán pasado así.
And I remember you had mentioned, you said all the evidence. What evidence did you think that the jury saw that the police overlooked?
What I think is the jury saw every evidence that was presented to police department, every evidence. The difference is that the jury actually reviewed them.
Sure. Yeah, sure. Thanks for the question. Yeah, the trial started on Monday, December 2nd, and it went to the jury at about, I believe, around 1:30 yesterday. We put on a full case of all the evidence, and that the police never looked at, unfortunately, in this case. And, I asked the jury when I gave my opening statement for them to please just look at the facts and look at the evidence and look at all the videos and the audios and the testimony, and they did that. And so yesterday afternoon, after 3 hours of deliberating, they came back with a unanimous over $4 million verdict in favor of the truth. The civil verdict is a verdict for a finding of civil battery, which is effectively the wrongful shooting and killing of Alex Ortiz, and the money judgment is against John Berline. Well, he was in court yesterday. I don't know where he's going to now. I know one thing I do know, that he is not in the United States Air Force, because although he was within a year of graduating from college at the time this happened, he decided to resign from his commission. So what that did was it prevented the United States Air Force from interviewing him. The other people that knew Alex were in fact interviewed by the police, but they weren't the person that was in the house with Alex when he was shot and killed. There were two people in the house, Alex and John Berline, and the police never formally interviewed John Berline, ever. In the Air Force, I think it's because he probably lawyered up right away, and that's why. So he didn't really cooperate with the police. And then after that, he voluntarily, quote, voluntarily withdrew from the Air Force Commission in order, for the sole purpose, really, of avoiding being formally interviewed by the Air Force. I mean, John Berline's whole life as a kid, as far as I can understand it, based on the facts I was told, was his lifelong dream was to go to NASA and get this military background, and he voluntarily, quote, gave that away. Well, why do you do that if you're innocent? I don't know. It sounds strange to me.
Hi, my name is Mark Pucci. I'm a retired NYPD detective. I'm the founder of a not-for-profit organization called the National Institute for Law and Justice. Our sole mission is to assist victims and victims' families who feel that their public investigation, whatever the agency is nationwide, hasn't concluded correctly, and in some cases hasn't been investigated at all. I first became involved in this case in December of 2020 and have been involved for the last 50 months. Throughout the entire investigation, we fought, as many of you came to the prior press conference, just in order to have the Daytona Beach Police Department accept and review direct evidence, video, audio evidence that was obtained from the ring cameras and even some evidence that was recorded by their own body cams. And we were patently refused that. So in moving forward, this federal civil case was never about the money, as you've heard from everyone who's here. This was about our ability to get an official record in a federal court system and have all of the evidence reviewed, legitimately reviewed by an objective jury. And as was said before, they came back with a unanimous verdict of guilty due to the overwhelming direct evidence in this case. So the greater purpose here, as I said, was not financial gain. That is, I can honestly say, that has never been the interest of the family. The interest is to create this permanent federal record under oath, testimony that we can now use along with the evidence and move to the next level, which would be to investigate the investigators.
Any other questions for the family? Okay. Good. All right, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Miren ustedes, una felicitación a la señora Lourdes Ortiz, especialmente ha ganado con su abogada en el estado de entonces, miren ustedes, allá hay festejo.